right now, I think I can say this guy's name. He is a friend of the show. Been with us many times. He's on the air out there in Denver, the Stokley and Zach Show, 104.3 in Denver. Brandon Stokley. Stoke, what happened? What's going on, buddy? Welcome back to the show. How you been?
I've been great, man. Thank you for having me again. Appreciate it. Always good to catch up with y'all and chat with y'all.
Oh, we're looking forward to it. We have a big Denver Broncos fan in studio with us, Terry Candlish. BT couldn't say his name, but before we
what I say, Landelich?
Yeah.
Is that what I said?
Yeah, you weren't even
You're going to be
close.
Tony Mandarich before it's all over. Yeah.
Brandon, I mean, you watched it intently. I watched it kind of like out of the side of my eye. How in the world did the Denver Broncos do what they did to the Cowboys? And we were joking earlier in the show, not really joking because we're kind of serious. Jerry Jones is going over game plans with Mike McCarthy. Maybe that had something to do with it. But like, where did that come from? I haven't seen that building up with Denver, but it was an explosion offensively last weekend.
Yeah, I don't think anyone saw that. I don't know. I'm still shocked that it happened. The way that they had been playing, they lost 4 in a row, and then they faced Washington at home 2 weeks ago, and it wasn't a pretty win, but they beat Washington at home, which they should do, and nobody saw this one coming. You know, against a team, Dallas Cowboys, that are playing as good as anybody in the NFL, that had won 6 in a row after losing a close one to start the season. Then all of a sudden, the Broncos, they're up 30-0 with, 6 minutes left to go in the game. Look, their defense, I picked them to go 10-7. And I picked them to go 10-7 because I thought they were going to be able to run the football, and I thought they were going to play great defense. And they did all of that on Sunday. Now, they hadn't been doing it consistently enough, but they did it on Sunday. Now the key is, can they back that up and keep doing it more consistently and do it this week against the Philadelphia Eagles? But that was a shocker.
And this is Terry Candlish. How are you?
I'm doing great, Terry.
But I heard you say you're picking the Broncos to probably get 10 wins. They're playing the Eagles next week, which theoretically you would think they should be able to beat that team, which then would put them at 6-4. Who are the other teams you think remaining on their schedule, which are mostly division games, that they're going to win?
Well, Terry, when I picked them to go 10-7 before the season started. Right now, I think they're probably a 9-win team. Is probably where they'll be. Now, what Broncos are we going to see? Are we going to see the Broncos of last week? Are we going to see the Broncos, 3-4 weeks ago when the Raiders came into town with a new coach, distractions everywhere, and just, embarrass the Denver Broncos at home? So that's the key here. Who's going to show up? Which Denver Broncos team's going to show up? And if that one shows up on Sunday, they'll be a 10-11 win team. Kansas City's not Kansas City that we know. The Chargers are a good team, but they're gettable. And the Raiders are the Raiders. So, look, this division's wide open, and everything that they want is still right out in front of them.
So we're talking a 2-time Super Bowl champ. That's Brandon Stokley, 104.3 out in Denver, the Stokley and Zach Show. And he's with us here on Tiki and Tierney, CBS Sports Radio. Now, listen, I know where you're going, Stoke, because when I try to handicap these games, I've been on this wild ride with the Broncos. One week I feel like I know who they are, and the next week I think I have no connection to them whatsoever. But to me, when you talk about their inconsistency and you say, I don't know which team's going to show up, I've got to look at the head coach there. Like, isn't that kind of the coach, amongst other things, but the coach's job to have more of a consistent performance and not these erratic fluctuations?
Absolutely. Got to be more consistent. That falls on the coaching staff to get that team playing at the highest level every single week. And when you start the season off 3-0, now they played the JV. Now the JV can still beat the varsity. We've seen that. But they started off with 3 JV games, and then they started playing the varsity, and they got embarrassed 4 straight weeks. Ravens, Steelers, Raiders. I'm forgetting the other one, but they got embarrassed in that one too. Just trust me on that one. But your head coach has got to get you ready to play. Pittsburgh, yes. He's got to get you ready to play consistently at a high level, and we haven't seen that.
So let me ask you: I'm sorry to interrupt, but I don't want to lose. Is that something that Fangio, either from yourself or diehard Bronco fans, is that a constant criticism out there in Denver that? When it comes to Fangio, we all could look at his record and say, well, he hasn't won as much, but that they just don't feel that he has the team ready to play at a high level enough. Do you hear that a lot, or do you say that a lot?
One of many. One of many. There's a lot of them on that list right now. He got lucky to get year 3 because of the Broncos situation and how many head coaches they've had over the last few years. And so he got year 3 because of that. And he's got to, the team has to start faster. They hadn't scored a first quarter touchdown before the Raiders game, or opening drive touchdown, and they had the longest streak in the NFL, and they finally got that accomplished. But they've got to start faster. They've got to be more consistent. He's got to be better when he's challenging in-game situational football. Vic has to be better. So certainly there's a long list here, and that's one of them.
We heard a report that Teddy Bridgewater was inquired about from the New Orleans Saints. And I don't know if it ever got close to happening, but obviously holding on to him makes you think that they're still kind of fighting for something, right? Is that what you're feeling out there with them?
Yes. Leading up to that trade deadline, we were connecting the dots. Jameis just got hurt. It just made too much sense. You're trading Von Miller. What are we doing here? You just lost 4 out of 5. You barely beat the Washington football team. Start unloading some of these guys that you don't plan on having back next year, and Teddy Bridgewater was one of those guys. And New Orleans Saints, it seemed like a perfect fit. They didn't do it. They didn't make any other moves. They still felt like they were in contention and could make a run at this thing. And you know what? I got to say right now, they were right because of the way they played the Cowboys last weekend. Now they got to keep it going, but certainly that was a lot. That was talked about a lot. Why not just deal Teddy? Take a look at Drew for another 8-9 games, and then next year you're going to be looking for a new quarterback anyway.
This could really be almost serendipitous where they get some draft equity for Von Miller, a little bit more than I even thought that they would get for him at this point, to be honest. And they're still in the wild card race. Actually, they're still in the divisional race here. Yeah. So they're still chasing a playoff berth, and they've got some draft stuff coming, which is pretty sweet. And you take me where I want to finish up the conversation, B, about the quarterback next year. I know they've tried to go big game hunting. It's not going to be Bridgewater. It's not going to be Locke. I mean, maybe it's Rodgers.
Right.
They're not going to finish close enough to the first overall pick to draft a kid. And even if they were, I don't love the kids coming out. What is the big target? What is the big trophy target for Elway and company? Who are they chasing this offseason?
Well, Aaron Rodgers would be a big get. We'll see how that shakes out. Then you look at a guy, what's the situation with Deshaun Watson? I mean, obviously those two are more ideal because you've seen them play at a high level. There's no guesswork there. You know that they can get it done at the NFL level. These rookies, it's a coin flip. And if you miss on them, it just sets your franchise back years. And so if you can get a proven one, that's the route you want to go. Obviously, it's hard to do that. A lot's got to work out for you. And then the draft, like you said, there's no surefire guy right now. The Broncos do have ammunition, though. So if they like a guy and they're picking 17, 18, they like a guy, Mahomes fell a little bit. You saw Deshaun Watson, 9, 10 range. You can be able to move up there because you do have the draft capital now with the Von Miller trade. You got a second and third for Von, so you got some capital to be able to maneuver in the draft or be able to use those draft picks to go get a veteran quarterback in a trade.
No, that makes a lot of sense. Last one for you, Brandon. 5-3, the Chargers. 5-3, the Raiders. 5-4, the Broncos and the Kansas City Chiefs. Who's winning this division?
I'm going Chargers. I just believe in them more than the other teams right now. They do need to stop the run a lot better than what they have been doing. It's been bad over there, but I love what they have offensively. I love Herbert. The Chiefs, for me, something's just not right, and you keep on waiting for it to get fixed, and it's not getting fixed. They're just off right now. They're not doing the little things that it takes to win football games in the NFL, and teams think they're vulnerable. They think they are beatable, and so they're not the Chiefs of old where teams are intimidated by them at all. So I got the Chargers right now winning this division.
I agree. Hey, Stoke, good rapping. Keep doing your thing. 104.3 out there in Denver FM. The Stokley and Zach Show, 2-time Super Bowl champ Brandon Stokley. Thanks a lot, buddy.
Yeah, appreciate y'all having me. Y'all take care. Thank you.
There you go. We like him.
Are you optimistic about the team?
I'd like to be. I'd like to be. He's right. They're 9, maybe 10 win team, which this year with the extra teams getting in the playoffs, he's probably going to get him in.
I mean,
And even probably, to be fair, a step more than you thought they would be.
Exactly.
I mean, you take 10 wins going into the season. If you're a Broncos fan, of course you'd sign up for 10-7.
yeah,
You'd sign up for 9
I didn't see that coming at all.
No,
I mean, they
no,
started
a little
off
surprised.
hot, but again, they were playing Giants, Jets, and Jags. But
Yeah.
but it's still. They were better than you thought.
Yep.
And they've won some games. Yeah, they're ahead of schedule. You put it that way. You talk about teams that are ahead of schedule. They're certainly one of them.
But it's so hard
But
to
it's
get
not optimistically ahead of schedule because there's no quarterback.
That's what I was just going to say.
Yeah, you're right.
Like, I'd almost rather be a step behind and know that I've got the guy, and I can kind of get off the runway theoretically for 7, 8, 9, 10 years. But even if they have a wild card, even if they stun somebody, which I don't think they'll do, and like win a playoff game, it's still Teddy Bridgewater, Drew Lock, or whatever else you do, and it's kind of like you're on the treadmill until you get somebody that is a franchise guy. It's proven elusive, but they're not the only team looking for that quarterback of the future. Terry Candlish with us here, and we never asked you. Little before we get to this OBJ stuff, you know your sports teams, your fandom, musical vibe. I know you could bounce around and go to any station at this point, Sirius XM, whatever. But in the old days, if you were driving from, say, Colorado, I don't know, up to Montana or the Dakotas, and you're by yourself and you have 3 CDs to bring with you, what are you bringing? I like to ask because this tells me a lot about people. So give me 3 CDs.
So you're
by
saying
yourself.
back in the 90s?
Oh, no, you can say now. I'm saying now, but yes, I'm transporting CDs back to relevance, correct?
Oh, boy, put me on the spot because we're kind of all over the place.
That's okay. Eclectic is good, man. What do you got?
Are you a country guy?
I'm about to get to say like the Bee Gees or something.
Or, rap.
Rap? Wouldn't have gotten rap out of you.
Yeah, you didn't get that?
I would not, like, we're talking 90s gangster rap, East
Like
Coast, West Coast.
NWA,
Oh, that's
everything.
good stuff.
Because LA, right? You were in LA for a little bit, right?
Yeah.
That's why you're Lake. He's also a Lakers fan.
Well, yes and no. He also said he's partially a
Yeah,
Blazers
that's
fan,
right.
too. He told me during the break, but we're going to let that slide.
We'll get to that.
We'll get that later.
In the next segment.
So you got a little rap there. So you got a nice eclectic mix of genres, but I need specific. Yeah, I don't need the specific albums, but give me names. Are you going NWA?
Yeah, I'll go with NWA.
One from NWA. You got 2 more CD choices. Who else?
So you want to switch genres?
If
on
you
that?
want to, you're driving, dude.
Oh, jeez. God. This was a tough
See, to
one.
me, this is not a hard question. Like if somebody said, "What is your hypothesis of?" Whatever.
Most people
I
don't
might be
think
caught.
about-
I'm like, I
give me
don't
a
know if I
second
recall
to-
that from school.
Most people don't think about that in real time. So,
Samter, you
what do
need 3 CDs. Who are you? I mean,
yes, let's do
what the hell's so
Samter.
hard about
Let
it?
Samter, you
Mike,
go.
you
And so
go.
Terry can think.
3 CDs, so he can think.
You're used to thinking on the fly. He's not.
But it's not like it's something. It's music that. Okay, go ahead.
I'm also a list guy, right? I can name for you my top 5 favorite TV shows, my top 5 movies.
Yeah.
I always have
3
a list
CDs.
ready.
3 CDs.
Yeah, we didn't ask about
We're
the
not adding to your demo tape right now. 3
That's true.
CDs.
That's true. Succinct.
All right, so I'm definitely going Radiohead, The Bends.
Okay.
I will go with
specific.
yeah. I'm gonna go.
Oh, yeah.
I'm gonna go Green Day, American Idiot.
I'm not a big Green Day fan, but I know you love them.
Dookie, but American Idiot's the way to go. And of course, Pearl Jam 10 is just the obvious answer, but there's so many good Pearl Jam songs.
Mm-hmm.
I guess I can maybe go with Vitalogy, but I think I'd probably go with 10.
Okay.
Yeah.
Samter coming correct.
He came straight with the details.
Came
I know,
correct.
all the
It's not a
detail.
hard question. Do you like blonde women or do you like brunettes? I mean, do you like rap
ask me
or
that
do you like?
question.
I thought about that question.
The hell's so
for
hard
years.
about it?
Terry's like, I know the answer to that
You
one.
I like them all, he says. All right, so come on, let's get off the hook here. You got
right.
NWA,
So I have recently listened to Linkin Park.
Lincoln Park. Okay, but is that one you would take on a trip? Like that
Yes.
you? Okay, that's 2.
Yes, and so let's see another one.
Are we going? I'll just throw stuff at you. Anything from the
But no, but
70s? Like,
here's-
are you a Led Zepp guy? Do you like anything like that? Like the Doors? Are you?
Hold on, let me
anything
interject.
from the disco era?
BT,
Do you
here's-
like
here's the
John
problem.
Lennon? I mean, what?
You get in a
The
car.
Who?
You get in a car, and you have to actually think about this. You're a motorcycle guy, right?
Yeah.
So it doesn't cross his mind. He rides motorcycles.
And I wouldn't drive to Montana or North Dakota that you
So you
mentioned.
threw him off, man.
What do you have enough money? You take that private jet? All right. I'm just trying to get a sense of who's hanging out with us here in
Oh,
studio.
gotcha.
And I think the answer is a guy who doesn't know his musical taste yet.
It's all good.
No, I'm just kidding, Terry. Just,
You would
just
never,
kidding,
you
Jerry.
would never guess, Terry, that I listened to Bohemian Rhapsody when I was getting ready for
Oh
football
God,
games.
you're such a buzzkill
Really?
with this. This is what
Right.
this guy would listen
No,
to.
I would say
coming out of a
Queen.
tunnel.
Yeah, I would say
See,
Queen.
there you go.
There we go.
I
There's
just
third one.
I just
Hold
found
on.
Queen for him.
You'd say Queen, But tell them the song that you used to listen to.
I told you,
Well,
Bohemian Rhapsody.
Okay.
Which
I
is
mean,
great.
it's a little different than "We Will Rock You." Like if I'm getting ready to play football,
eventually I'd get to that. I'd get to that. I'd get to that.
That's a
Tiki's
question.
hair was never long enough to be like, Wayne's World
I
rocking
couldn't, like-
back and forth with that.
I couldn't stand that movie, by the way. Wayne's World. I had no interest in that. Dumb. No interest in that.
Of course,
movie.
it's dumb, which is why it's great.
But I like a lot of dumb, like Dumb and Dumber is dumb. Like I love that dumb humor. Let me tell you why. Those two guys on the couch, and I like them in other roles, to be clear, are two guys I wouldn't hang out with if my life depended on it when I was in high school. Like I can't relate to those two guys. I just couldn't. Like two guys getting high, banging drums in the basement. I don't know. With like burnouts, with long hair, not playing a sport. Just weren't my kind of guys. Just wasn't people I was hanging out with.
I could have hung.
Hey, they laughed, they smiled, they had fun, they listened to good music. That's all I care about.
Not saying they weren't good people, just not necessarily people for me at that point. Now I might have fun with them.
Yeah, exactly.
All right, so Odell Beckham Jr. There is a team emerging here. First of all, are you an OB? Do you like Odell Beckham Jr.? You see him from across the country. What are your thoughts on Odell Beckham? Number one, still as a player and the whole persona. Do you get down with it? Are you an OBJ guy?
Yeah, I do like OBJ. Ever since he made that backwards catch, it's kind of been
It's a
downhill
Cowboys.
from there.
Yeah.
He
It's a
made
Cowboy,
a name.
So you like his skill, or you like him? Like,
Yeah, I mean, I like his skill. He's not running great patterns.
Yeah.
And not getting open, not getting the catches anywhere near.
well, he's
like
not
he
the
used to.
athlete like he used to be.
But
That's for sure.
He
Just gotten a
also
little
cares
older.
about how he looks and what his numbers are.
Does he care too much, though? Because I think he cares too much the way he
Yes.
looks. Is that what you're saying?
Yes.
Well,
Okay,
I'm
so we're on the same page
Well,
with that.
sometimes, I mean, I always say this. I used to say this all the time when I was playing. If you look good, you feel good.
I agree with that. The guy was wearing a watch, though, during the games
Yeah, but
2 years ago,
But he's
man.
getting paid
So
for it.
what?
Are you going to fault him for getting
Yeah,
paid?
well,
Seriously.
when you put it that way, I almost can't answer the way I want to. But
Hey, BT,
you know what I mean.
I want to give you this, whatever it was. I forget the name.
Deal.
Of the brand of the watch.
Done.
It's a couple $100 grand.
Yeah, whatever. I hear you.
We'll give you the watch and we'll pay you a couple $100 grand to wear it. Are you gonna not wear it?
You know what? Fundamentally, if I was destitute, I'd wear anything.
Yeah.
If I was an NFL player, I would not wear it.
I mean, these guys.
I know that sounds
these
easy
guys
for me. I would
wear-
not wear that with my football uniform.
Some of these
No, I
guys
would not.
wear $100,000 chains.
Yeah, that's different. We all wear chains under our shirts, earrings different.
Yeah.
This is a watch, dude. He was next year's gonna come out with an 1820s pocket watch, stopwatch. Oh my, hanging out from his thigh pad. All right, so you're okay with Beckham. Now, what is your opinion? Because this team has tormented me for my whole life. The Patriots, as a Jets fan, a loser Jets fan, the Patriots always win. Everybody knows that. There's the thought now.
Oh, even Denver. I mean, they were kind of a.
They're true.
nemesis.
True. But from across the country, even though you're in Portland, you're a Broncos guy. Right now, how do you view the Patriots? Do you see them as a little bit of a threat, or is this like, well, they're good, they're better than we thought, but they're not that good? How do you see the Pats right now?
They are good, better than I thought. I thought they'd be a lot worse. Really surprised about
Me too.
Mac.
dumping the quarterback early and going with Mac right out the gate.
Yeah.
And getting rid of him. Are you talking about in specific to
But do you think that they
fitting in?
right now? Not yet? Do you think the way they're constructed right now? Do you think that they actually have a chance to get to the Super Bowl? That's gaining some traction the last week or two.
No.
The problem.
See, I do.
The problem with there are so many 5-win teams in the AFC.
Name them all, Teague. Name the 5-win teams, along with the Pats, by the way.
The entire West, which we just hit with Brandon Stokely.
Okay, of those teams, who are they not better than?
Exactly.
They just beat the Chargers.
Exactly.
Okay.
They can beat any of
so
them.
you're more with me.
I'm agreeing with you.
Gotcha.
The Tennessee Titans, who don't, I mean, yes, technically they're the best team in the AFC
7-2
because they're 7-2
Yep.
and best record wise, they just destroyed a team without Derrick Henry. So
By the way, are we convinced that Derek wouldn't come back for a January playoff game? There's a chance that he could come back.
Absolutely, he can.
Okay, so
right?
Titans, I would say maybe.
There's no right. 6 weeks, right? It's about
Yeah,
or so.
6 or 7.
He could be okay. Baltimore 6-2.
Baltimore's good.
Yep, and then Pittsburgh's five wins. So
Pats would beat 'em.
So it's Cincinnati. So the entire
Pats
North
would
also
beat 'em.
has five wins. I think the Pats can beat all of those teams.
Mm-hmm.
And then the only other team is the Buffalo Bills,
Yep.
who they're half a game behind.
And that's that whole. They're going in different directions
Yeah, so they have to be played.
now. I'm agreeing.
They
You're the
have to be.
minority here, Tara.
You don't think so?
No, I don't think so.
You don't believe in the Belichickian, I don't know, force?
I don't think Mac's ready.
I mean, that's a decent argument, actually. Because
Is it though, based on the way he's played?
Well,
Why is it?
Because when you get to the playoffs, it's just a different. level, but he's been in those situations in college.
Not that worried about that now.
Yeah.
But their biggest players are what? Jacoby Myers, Damian Harris.
Look at this guy going down the personnel. He knows his football, Terry.
So if you add Odell Beckham Jr. to that mix, what happens? That's the question.
I think it would be great because while people might be a little reluctant to anoint the Patriots like a viable contender right now, Odell there would bring energy. It would bring hate back to in some regard.
Yeah.
But it would propel them to a level of interest that while you and I believe that they're Super Bowl viable, but they're not incredibly interesting right now. They're still relatively benign. You put Beckham there with McDaniels and that running attack and 2 tight ends, he's going to catch touchdowns.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I think that's the move for him.
And make them the hated team. That's
Good.
gonna get to the
Some love Odell, so you'll get some love too.
Yeah.
But you'd get some.
Look, I think he fits. And Terry, you said this to us in a break. He's number one, right? He's the number one receiver.
That's what he wants,
and that's all he wants. Really, it seems like to be the guy who's the guy, but also have the only reason I think it might be a challenge is because he wants someone who can push him the ball downfield. Mac Jones isn't necessarily doing that. And so I think a bigger quarterback, a better quarterback, more experienced. That's why Green Bay is getting all some of this attention as well for Odell.
I don't think he's going there, Teak.
As is Seattle, simply because of the quarterback situation.
I don't think he's going to wind up in Green Bay. And if you're Odell, do you want to go to Green Bay with the risk of? I know that he would be a free. Be guaranteed that he'd be back with Green Bay anyway.
He's going on a loaner.
But if he goes somewhere, like if he goes to New England and he has this great rapport with Mac Jones is going to be there. He could conceivably get, I know the Pats don't usually delve out the big money, but they could say, all right, we'll give you 2 years, 25, I'm just throwing numbers out.
Yeah.
But with the Packers, if Rodgers bounces, he's not staying to play with Jordan Love.
Yeah.
So do you think that should factor into his next stop? The stability at the quarterback's position.
For right now, I'd say no. I think he needs to go somewhere as a mercenary.
Okay.
And then
reestablishes.
Stay as a free agent.
Thanks for watching. Make sure you like and subscribe, and don't forget to hit that bell to be notified when we drop fresh content.